Cool. All right, I think we're up.
Is it live?
I believe so.
Don't see it yet, bro.
Yeah, it's here. Twitter has got to figure out how to make this shit easier to share. It is so hard to share this
It's
thing.
kind of fucking dumb, dude. Like, it's almost like doing spaces is better.
Kind of. But this is what they're pushing. This is what they want. They want us to be doing this, so.
Or a better way to just integrate it into Riverside more than anything else.
Yeah. Share button on this stuff, and then yodely bodily. Are we 55 already?
We are, we're on episode 55. We ain't 55 yet. Yeah, we're episode 55. It's fucking crazy. So we'll hit episode 100 next year in 2025. Probably somewhere around August.
Okay. Yeah, we can calculate that out and figure it out. And we should do something about it.
Yeah, because we'll probably take off. Well, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, hit the fucking jingle. Let's go.
All right. Hitting the jingle. Slightly above average gamers, way above average podcast. Welcome to the Slightly Above Average Gaming Podcast with your hosts, J007tv and SuboneKD.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 55 of the Slightly Above Average Gaming Podcast. I am J007tv, joined, as always, by the one, the only, the legend, SuboneKD. How you like that gas this morning, baby?
Oh, fire me up, dude. You are fired up this morning. You are revved and ready to go.
I'm just happy to be here.
Aren't we all?
What's going on, man? How's your week been?
Week has been, you know what? Not too shabby. Been busy. Started work on the old The Office, so got that thrown up. I don't remember if I had this view last week or not, but I think I was
similar.
I think it wasn't. I think the wood wasn't there.
Oh, but, yeah, the little pegboard in the back.
I don't know, but I got everything framed up. I got to do the roof and then electrical, and then I can drywall and paint and start making it look nice.
What are you doing for airflow in that? Like, how are you?
Good call. I don't know.
I mean, you kind of got to figure that out because, I mean, this is the second year. So, like, last year you had a freaking heat wave too roll through there, if I remember correctly. And you weren't able to play or stream until, like, late at night. So, like, my thought is like, if you're going to go through the trouble to build that room, you got to figure out something. Don't make the same mistake I did because, like I told you, dude, yeah, we moved the vent, but guess what? There's no return vent, so none of the air freaking circulates in here, so I have to have a fan.
Well, I designed it so that I can open my roll-up door, so I'll throw my camera for those of you watching. So there's a roll-up door here, so I put a half wall so the dogs can't get in, but that door opens all the way up.
Well, I guess if you're streaming, not a big deal. People expect to hear, like, a horse whinny, a cow moo, or a fucking rooster crow or whatever, but...
Yeah. But no, I'm probably gonna get one of those air, like rolling air conditioning things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably have that set up kind of off to the side, and just push some cold air in.
We need to fucking start you like a air conditioning fund.
Dude, we don't have AC out here. Like, nobody has it. It's too expensive.
Yeah, that's
like there's no point. There's no point. Like around here, it's like we're like England most of the year, where it's a high of 68 and the low is like 50. Overnight lows are like 50, and it's like that year round, except for like this week where it's been 101, which sucked. So
it's hotter there than here, bro. Like, so today, right now, it's 81. That's weird. I mean, it really is. So, like, today, according to Apple Watch, it is 81 degrees with a high of 91 and a low of 61. It was like, so that's like a 30-degree split. Like, we're kind of starting to get into our cool phase. Like, come Halloween is when it's going to probably start getting a little chilly. We've had sleet on Halloween before.
Yeah. We've got high of 94 today and low of 60. And then Tuesday that drops down to 75. So that'll be a drop off.
That'll be glorious, dude.
But yeah, it's like I'm gonna go hang out with my parents and use their pool, and it's gonna be a high of like 96 up there.
Nice.
So, it's hot. gets hot around here, but air conditioning is one of those things of like it is not hot enough here on the regular to justify it. So yeah.
Well, and where you are, you probably got several regulations for central heat and air. By the time you're done, it's probably a $50,000 system. You know,
it's just it's expensive. It's not, and then you got to run it right, and that I already get yelled at by PG&E because we're home more often, so we use too much power in an all electric state.
Now, solar, I'll tell you. So
I have solar.
You do?
Doesn't do shit.
Oh, ours does. Dude, ours. So what's crazy is like when we first moved into this house, that was one of the selling points. Like we had solar here, and we came from a house with a busted ass air conditioning system where during the summertime our bills were like $350 or $400 just for electricity, which is a lot of freaking money for us at the time. It was. Then we come here, dude, and I shit you not, for the first 1.5 to 2 years, until they started jacking the price up for fucking electricity, our bills were like $45 to $65 a month, bro.
That's crazy.
I shit you not.
Yeah, no, it's like energy here is expensive. So, but so I mean, solar cuts it. Like, in our previous home, solar was like, or without solar, we were about $300 a month for electricity with no AC. And then now it's up to like 180.
180. That's not. That's not too bad. No, that's not too bad. I mean, we have one of our panels going out, so we've got to get that squared away. And I convinced my wife through bitching about it to crank the AC down to like 70 at night, so it's cool in the house.
Nice.
Yeah, so our bill's been a little bit higher, and yes, I've heard about that a couple times. But I honestly don't care. If I'm not comfortable at night when I'm trying to sleep, I really don't give a fuck. So,
yeah, no, fair. At night is important. Like that's when you should run it, anyways. It sucks to not have it with solar, but you should be running it at night. Bring the temperature down, and then you just close the doors and windows and keep the cold air in, as long as you can. But yeah, it's been a good week. Went to the fair last night, so dragging a little bit this morning. It was a long night. My daughter's brought one of her friends, so chasing them around. Not as young as I used to be. Did
you win any prizes?
My youngest won some little stuffy thing, and then but wife and daughters all had stuff entered, and they all they cleaned house. So,
I'm talking about like at the games or whatever. Like,
I don't play those stupid games. Are you kidding me?
Dude, those games are a racket. Those things are about like the Call of Duty fucking supply crate system.
They're slightly better than the supply crate system because you can actually get what you want sometimes. Like the physics are there, unlike random ass shit. Did you watch? Who was it? It wasn't Teep. It was
T-Dog Smitty.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm gonna get this one gun that I wanted so bad, and he dropped like $400 and didn't get it.
And the old game, right?
Yeah, he was running it. It was like, this is the bullshit that people want, right? They're like, oh, let's go back to the way it used to be. I'm like, that's the way it used to be. You could drop $400 and like absolutely not get anything out of it. Like it was terrible.
See, I think Apex does it right, man. I mean, okay, so here's the thing with Apex. I don't know how much of it you've played or whatever. I mean, yeah, there's like the heirlooms, and you have to get heirloom shards. And so I guess in a way, trying to get those could be like that, where you're getting the crates or whatever. But like their store, like just the store itself, everything is cosmetic, right? And it's so funny. We're kind of getting off topic a little bit here, but kind of on topic.
This is fun.
Because here's the deal too. So I forget what COD Twitter handle like tweeted it, but they were like, do you think we should vault Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 guns as we go into the next iteration of Warzone? And I said, yes, I think they will, or I think they should. And, we've talked before, and I think I commented to J-Rock on this earlier too, is as long as we have like blueprints And loadouts, they're never going to do that. And the reason why is because they don't want you to regret your purchase.
Yeah, they want you to always pull out your, F-TAC Siege if you want to, even though you will never get a kill with it because it's dog shit.
By the way, dude, speaking of the store, I bought the Oktoberfest version of you.
Oh, with the beer keg?
Dude, yeah. He's got like beer for grenades and everything, dude. And a big-ass tank on the back.
That's my casual operator right now. I'm loving it.
I bought that operator too. So
that's funny.
But
he's funny. I like that operator.
He's got a lot of good variants, bro. Like he has the 4th of July variant. He's got he's got one that's kind of all tacked out, which is cool. His name is Barbecue or BBQ, so that's why I like him.
Yep.
I mean, if the shirt doesn't tell you something, you know what I mean? Brisket and ribs 24.
Basically the best candidate on the slate right now. I approve. But yeah, no, he's it's a good character. The Apex thing, here's the problem with the Apex thing is everything's cosmetic, but these stupid heirloom things, like I've seen people drop like $250 on those things.
Yeah.
And then those things, like they'll drop an heirloom on something and then they'll roll that thing into like oblivion the next season.
But
people will drop money on that, and then they'll never get to use it because it's just not useful.
Well, no, the heirlooms, that's the whole thing though. They're more of a cosmetic thing. They don't really do anything. They're just cool to have. So it's like they're an extra, like they're a side thing. Like it's like a set of drumsticks for the medic. I can't remember her name, but like some cool drumsticks, or like a cool like a knife with a ring on the end of it for Wraith, and those kind of things that they just carry out while they're running. They don't really serve any mechanical purpose.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard because it's like that's predatory in its own right, because now they're pushing the scarcity of it, right? Like you only have these things for so long, for so long to get these things.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't get it right now, you'll never, you might never get the chance again. And you either have to constantly grind the shit out of the game, or you have to, pay up. And, I've seen people like, I have literally seen people complain that they have to choose between rent and buying one of those things.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
And I'm like, what? No. It's like, look, it's all predatory, right? At some level, they're all trying to separate you from your money. And look, if it's cosmetic, or if it doesn't give you an advantage you can't earn in game, I don't care. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is, right? And it's like, it's why the bundles don't bother me, right? Like, if you want to shortcut the grind by just buying a almost meta build, fine. I don't care.
It's really stupid though, because they're never the variants, like very few of these like variants or blueprints have been really worth a shit. And if they are, they're not for long.
I mean, they look cool. Like, look, they've got some good patterns out, and they've got some of them like that Black Cell DTIR.
Yeah, that one actually had a mechanical difference though, because it didn't have the smoke.
Yeah, and I think that's sounds like an oversight. I'm sure they'll fix it. Well, actually, I'm sure they won't do anything, because they're not going to fix anything until Black Ops. But that's one of those things where it's like, it's almost meta, right? I had to change like one part on it, and it's like, whatever. But the smoke thing, that it's one of those rare oversights where I think it's like everybody likes to say they do it on purpose. I don't think they do it on purpose. I think it's like something with their tracer pack interferes with the smoke issue, or the base weapon had a smoke, because this stuff is programmed beyond. They didn't build this thing and program it like last week, right? This has been out. They probably did this months ago, before they went and reduced the smoke effect on a lot of guns. And so this probably, because it wasn't released, didn't get adjusted.
What do you think of the Black Cell this season? And the battle pass.
This season's battle pass and events and all of that has been the epitome of meh, in my opinion.
Right.
It's not that I think it's bad. I think it's just lackluster because I think they started I think from the minute they moved up Rebirth Island, I think they've punted so much from this year. And so it's been kind of like, you know, like this Halloween event has been interesting. What have you played it?
No, I've only played multiplayer and I've played mostly solos. They did add the jump scares into solos. I was teabagging somebody the other day and a fucking jump scare came out. And of course, it didn't freak me out because it's kind of lame or whatever. And then you can hear like some little like scary music inside the plane a little bit if you have that turned on. Mm-hmm. But no, I haven't played it. But also, too, did you see how short the season is? It's fucking 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Normally, aren't they 6 weeks or 8?
They're 8 weeks with a reloaded. So they basically just cut the reloaded, and they're going to punt it, you know, go straight into Black Ops 6, which is fine.
I think everyone's over it anyway.
Yeah, there's kind of no point. I think last year, God, I gotta use my brain to remember. I think last year the season rolled like on until the Black Ops integration, like in Warzone.
Oh, the Warzone Modern Warfare 3 integration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you could it still had the same length to accomplish everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it just didn't it didn't have a reloaded. They just kind of, all they did is they reverted it to normal in Warzone and took out the multiplayer special stuff. I'm going to break our tradition usually, but Mr. Whiskers did point out in the chat that the base gun doesn't have the smoke anymore. They fixed that. So, where
are you seeing that?
It's in the broadcast.
I'm in the broadcast. I don't see anybody in there. Or any comments. That's weird.
Weird.
Well.
But yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Appreciate it. Always appreciate little tidbits like that when we catch them. But yeah, the season is the haunting this year is kind of like, I don't want to call it lackluster, but
underwhelming.
It feels a little underwhelming. The zombies still suck. I was hanging out in Modern Warzone's stream yesterday for a bit while I was working on my video, and he was his first time trying it because he hasn't had power for like 9 days.
No, they got fucking pelted, bro.
Yeah, which has been crazy. It's one of those things of like, I feel so over prepared for stuff like that, and then when it happens somewhere far away, I'm like, I could help you, but I have no way to get to you. That sucks to me. But yeah, he his dad got power, so he was able to stream for a bit, which was fun to hang out. He was trying it for the first time, and we were talking in chat about the zombies mode, and I pointed out that the zombies, they've kind of ruined the actual haunting mode. The zombies, right now it's Vondel at night, which actually looks really cool. Like if you get a chance to hop in that map, it's fun to see Vondel at night, right?
Didn't they do that last year?
I don't remember.
There was some mode. Yeah, I'm almost certain we had an event on Vondel last year too, because I know I played it.
Okay, I don't remember. I don't think I played it much, but Vondel at night, and it's cool, and I like it. However, the mode itself is kind of ass, right? And I was talking about it because what they did is they weakened the zombies to the point that it's really hard to get a kill. Like I had like zombies stunned and gassed somebody, and was over there just like wailing on him, and he still got the kill on me. Like he still got me killed, and I was kind of pissed about it because it's like I had every advantage. I used every tool in my arsenal, and I still couldn't beat the DTR, whatever, up close, like beating on him. And it's like, and they've just ruined the mode because it's like, it's no fun if the zombies are meaningless, right? The only way the zombies are useful is if they're in a big horde, and then it's just RNG on who gets the kill, right? Versus if you go back to Verdansk, the zombies were super dangerous, right? Like you could kill them quick enough. But if they got the jump on you, like you were toast. It was like the old melees where it was like 2-hit melee. And it was kind of in that damage range. So they've nerfed the damage on the zombies. And they did this last year, right? This was how it was last year too. To the point that if you're a zombie, you're better off just kind of like running around and running around and like just kind of like scavenging things rather than actually trying to fight humans, because the odds that you come out of it successfully are so low. And it was the map looks so good right now, and playing on it is such trash. And that's, I think, the hardest the hardest part is there just isn't a good experience on it. And so, you know, he was saying, like, it was so, I wish I'd clipped it, because he was saying, you know, he read what I said, and he's like, you know, I don't think so. I think they actually buffed the zombies that, you know, they have more health or whatever. And then he goes up against somebody and just same experience, right? Like he gets the drop on him. He's beating on him. He's just beating on him, and the guy just kills him. And he's like, all right, nope, you're right. Never mind.
You know what? Like, it's kind of a separate thing, but kind of something happened to me last night. I cannot tell you, since Warzone started, how many times we've had this discussion. I'm literally shooting somebody in the face and they're able to beat me to death. Last night, it was the opposite for me. And I start beating somebody and he shoots me in the face and I died. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, bro, I was so fucking tilted, bro.
Melee is so inconsistent.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
But, you know, the haunting's not a complete loss, though, because they introduced that purgatory mode. And I remember, if you rewind to last week's episode, I believe I was pretty negative about it, or whatever. Whenever they premiered it, and we read through the patch notes, I think it was last episode.
That was 53, I think, episode 53, because we've talked about the haunting 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, but that purgatory mode is wildly entertaining. I enjoy it as a casual mode. It's like team deathmatch on Rebirth Island with Rebirth mechanics, and it goes for 2 hours, dude. Like, you could sit there for 2 hours and just chill. And you know what? First of all, if you want to do challenges, it's like the best place to do it, because, you know, you just keep coming back with all your shit. So, you know, we're playing, you know, it's like I hopped in with a couple of guys, wanted to finish off one of my Warzone Camo challenges. You have to do 3 of those recon challenges, you know, in a match, right? Which, you know, that's hard enough to do as it is. You know, Purgatory, they're just everywhere. They just pop. They're like popcorn.
Wait, so that's the Warzone challenge, the one that's over to the right,
the redacted one.
Because there's one where it's like you got to complete 3 contracts in a match.
So. There are previous seasons have different iterations of it. One was you had to do 3 contracts. One was you had to do 3 different contracts, right? Mm-hmm. So they have to be completely different from each other. This one is you have to do 3 recons. So the little question mark one. And so you have to drop on that, and then you have to go put it in the little station, and then the flare goes up. Oh, get my mic here. The flare goes up, and then you have to sit there for like 30 seconds or whatever.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, until it's on the top of prison, and there's like 16 people all trying to kill each other right around where that platform is, and you're just like, I just want to get my contract. Fuck. Leave me alone.
it's on the tramway platform.
Yeah, right next to the tram platform, like hottest zone in the map, and so. It's actually, it's, I'll tell you this, it's good to practice stuff. Like, if you want to practice, like, landing on somebody and, like, how to, you know, practice timing, cutting your shoot, and, like, all that stuff, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And so, but, you know, that mode it's good for grinding, it's good for camos, and it's a good it's a very casual mode. I mean, I think 2 hours, like, no one's going to sit there for 2 hours, but it's like, I did the whole candy thing. The candy event in one sitting. Like, I just jumped in there and it just looted, and I was done in 45 minutes. So it's not like one of those things where it's like you have to be in there, because there's no win, there's no end game, right? the only way to win is if you actually drop a nuke on the lobby, which somebody did to me. I thought
no kidding.
Hilarious. Oh yeah, they actually nuked on the lobby.
Holy shit! Like, in a fucking LTM.
Yeah, it's like but it's like multiplayer nuke, right? You drop 30. You drop like 30 straight.
Close to that since my 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know, but Nova, thank you for the feedback there too. He's right. He's like, it's good for casual fun, but 2 hours is too long, and it's next to the gondola.
You just hop in and hop out, right? It's not a big deal. Like, and so I think we need more of this sort of stuff going forward. Like, I hope they have a mode, like kind of like how boot camp is. I wish they'd restructure boot camp a little bit, where it's like, it's not posted as like a newbie mode. It's more of like a practice mode, right? Like if you want to hop in, like I've been using it lately to try hopping in and 1v4, playing 1v4, right? Being solo again, solo squads, because it gives a good opportunity to A, loot up, and B, to easily get your stuff without having 150 sweats trying to drop on your nuts the whole game. And then but it's not like Purgatory or some of these other modes where there's you're like what's it called, Plunder, right? Because Plunder, you have people just doing their own thing, right? Nobody's trying to play to win, right? They're not playing the game like they would play the game in the real world. They're playing the game, they're playing their own thing. They're either just kill chasing by themselves or whatever. So you don't get the same experience, right? Unlike, other patented 1v4 opportunities to practice stuff. Boot camp is good because everybody in it they're all trying to play the game to win at the end of the day. Just like in the real mode. So you get a better sense of like how to play squads that are trying to play together.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot to learn from it. And I wish they'd restructure it so that it's not, it doesn't have like, oh, this is only for newbies, but it's like, this is a mode to practice what you want to practice. If you want to practice learning layouts, learning jump points, like it's a great mode for that because the stats don't count. I like the fact that the stats don't count because that means I don't have to worry about, all right, I got to chase some kills. I got to like keep my nose clean. If I hot drop with somebody and I lose, I don't fucking care. And so for practicing loadouts, for practicing stuff, I think it's a great mode. They need more of that. And Purgatory is great for that too, because you're dropping in with your shit over and over and over. You're very quick in it. And again, the stats don't go anywhere. Like there's no, if you want to just like I spent 25 minutes practicing how to drop on water tower and like different angles and different heights so I can cut my shoot, I can hit the ground and immediately start hitting the guy and and even shooting him before I hit the ground, like all those different points, so that in game when I run into that in ranked, I actually use this. I can cut my shoot at exactly the right spot where I land. I'm not shook up, but I'm coming in hot enough that they're not aware that I'm here yet, and I can drop in and knock somebody off the top of water tower and regame. And so I actually used that in ranked yesterday. It was great.
Yeah,
they need more of that stuff. And I think that
not at the expense of the normal core modes.
No. Don't take anything away.
They do that though. They push these LTM modes and then they fuck with the playlist for like the core modes. And I mean, dude, the crazy thing is they're even, from what I gather, they're even doing that shit to Resurgence, which is wild considering that's been the mode they've really like babied over the last year or two. Whereas like the BR now is like Urzikstan is literally solos and quads. That's it.
Yeah. Well, the other one is if you're not playing ranked, it's only duos and quads.
Oh, there's no solos over there?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was watching Cup of Joe earlier, and you know what? That actually makes sense because I think he was just solo quadding.
Yeah. In
there. Just absolutely wrecking people, too, by the way.
He's good.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, look, they've... I'm sorry. I was at the fair all day, and I'm just heaving in dust. Probably got 2 packs of cigarettes worth of dust in my throat right now. But yeah, it's absolutely one of those like nightmare scenarios where they're just cannibalizing playlists and just not giving us anything. And I mean, part of it is it's the end of the year, and so we're they're shutting down everything and getting ready for next game in 20 days. So get it, I do. I don't love it, but I get where they're at in the cycle, and I think this is something that we as players have to kind of get used to. Is we are now back in a yearly game cycle, right? We had the kind of weird, the pandemic stretched stuff out. You had, Black Ops Cold War kind of got, was kind of like a Warzone thing rather than an actual multiplayer, because Warzone was what was big, and Warzone 1 just kind of stretched on forever. And I think what they're changing and trying to address, I think what we're having to, as a player base, to get accustomed to is the way things used to be, where it was like the game, games got lots of updates early, right? They got a couple of packs, and then they just were allowed to just die, by the end of it, because they have the new one coming up, right? So that's how it used to be, right? You'd get a couple of updates, a couple of patches, and then, by August, like, you didn't get anything else. Like, they would probably have one more DLC, like, in August, and then it was like, see ya. We'll see you next year.
Well, and there were, back then too, there were other games to choose from. So when you did get tired of Call of Duty, you had other options of, like we've talked about before, like franchises to go play. I mean, I would do that a lot. I would go back and forth between Call of Duty, Battlefield, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, those franchises. Now it's Call of Duty, and that's pretty much it. So that kind of lends to what we were talking about a little bit last week, as far as like, there's just no other games I want to play, so I'm just going to stick it out and just grind or whatever. But, I'll tell you, solos does seem like a little bit of a different experience even now, the last couple weeks, now that it's basically solos or quads. It's really, it feels a little more sweaty to me. And I don't know exactly why that is, but it just does feel a little bit more sweaty to me. Like, I don't normally, I wouldn't say I usually struggle on solos. Whereas last night, not so much, but the previous 2 nights, it was a fucking sweat fest, dude.
Well, I mean, look, a lot of the casuals are probably pulled off into the Purgatory mode.
Probably.
It's I have a group of casuals that I've picked up over the last couple of weeks, and we play a couple of nights a week, just kicking it. I'll play on my Xbox and put my feet up and have a beer, and they have very little interest in playing anything else, any of the big modes, because it's just too sweaty. They have a couple of the ladies that play are really bad at the game. They don't enjoy it. When it's sweaty,
do they want to come play quads?
I mean, we usually have quads. And it's like, I mean, like, when we play boot camp with them, they'll get like 3 kills, and it's like, they're having fun, but they don't get anything in the real game. They just struggle.
It would be so, like, I think that would be really cool to be able to just play like the regular game with mixed level players. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that. I said I wasn't going to talk about this, son of a bitch. You fucking sucked me in every goddamn time.
You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming, but no, like that's, to me, that's one of the big gripes about the way, we do our matchmaking, is being able to play with friends of mixed skill levels. Like you should be able to load into Urzikstan with those ladies and go play, and some matches they get shit on, some matches they get some kills, and it's kind of an even type experience, but you can't do it that way because you probably have a higher KD than them. It's going to go off of your KD. So imagine playing with people like Lipe and fucking Jigsy and Riddick and those guys, going off of their KD. I was just looking at Riddick's KD. It's over a 3. So now I know exactly what my experience is going to be when I play with him in pubs. But I was going to tell you, dude, I'm not a Resurgence player. Like, I think it's almost out of stubbornness to a certain degree, if I'm being real about it. But I did go play Resurgence ranked the other day. I played like 4 games and ranked all the way through bronze and into silver too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the bronze is like easy. But it's one of those things of like, it's definitely a different experience. And I think, and here's the thing that probably, this is an opinion that'll get me canceled if anybody tells anybody. But, I think the problem with the main modes is they don't have a way to, how do I say this? They don't have a way to control, like, how many casuals will play the mode, right? And so as long as there's other offerings, they'll go play those other offerings, I think, predominantly because they have a better experience at the end of the day, right? Similar to how, like, you know, you mentioned at the end, you know, when the game gets stale, like, people tend to leave and go play other things, right? You know, casuals will do that much quicker than, you know, the addicts like you and me, and probably half the people listening to the podcast today. And I think, you know, Activision has to balance this, right? Like, how do we keep those people here in the game versus, you know, versus other things? And I think part of the problem is, you know, zombies has been a pretty good experience, especially if you're a Warzone player. So I think there's definitely that's been a drain of casuals. I think, you know, you have Plunder, you now have Boot Camp, you have right now Purgatory, right?
What was the one mode? So just real quick, the mode on Caldera where you had basically, I think it was like 50 on 50 and you're on just other sides and you just fucking kill each other and go. It was almost
that
like,
mode was great.
Yeah, it was great for like sniping and even trying to rank up some of the weapons or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I usually max all my shit out in game well ahead of time anyway. But yeah, no, that mode was awesome.
That was a good mode. I can't remember what it's called now, but I think the problem is that when you have a really good squad, like, it just skews the whole map, right? Like, I remember watching the old days where you'd have a squad of 4 drop in and they would all split off and they'd all go to 4 corners of the map. And it's like every squad is running into these guys at some point, right? One of them. And, you know, the skill discrepancies would be, you know, crazy big. And I think that sort of experience is not something that casuals love in general, which, you know, I think the solution, I think boot camp, you know, to be honest, I think in a casual mode, I think if you want to have a mixed, like, if you want to reduce the SBMM effect, I think you have to properly balance the KD, like the skill curve of the lobby. Like, if you overload the lobby with, you know, higher skilled players, even relative to, like, you know, I'm gonna say that the top of the low skill casual is probably like a 0.65, 0.7. Like, you know, from there on, you're kind of like in that mid tier, like, where people are kind of good, they're getting better, right? They're probably putting some effort in, but they're not great, right? And, you know, from like 0.7 to, like, you know, just under 1, like 0.8, 0.9, something like that. Like, that's a band of players that'll keep playing and practice to get better. But that, like, below that, I feel like if they're not having fun, like, they're just going to quit. And that's kind of like where I think a lot of the protected bracket lives. But if you could create an experience, you know, I think Boot Camp does a good experience where there's enough bots out there that bad players get some kills, good players get a lot of kills, and the best players run the table, right? And sometimes the best players aren't there. There aren't enough best players to put them in every single lobby. But I think if you create a scenario where there is a bell curve of skill, where you have like a bunch at the bottom, and I think, to be honest, I think in a totally casual pubs mode with limited or no SBMM, the only way to get that balance enough that everybody can have something resembling fun in a match, in most matches, is probably to put bots in, kind of like how Fortnite does.
Yeah, I mean, you've been saying that for a while, but I'll also add that I think if you put a ranked mode and leave that as standard practice, no matter what, day one game launches, you have ranked mode, dude, yep. That's where a lot of your, like, uber sweats are going to go play, dude, because see, I think there's a common misconception that, like, these top tier players only want to beat up on bots. That's not entirely true, dude. It just isn't, especially like the comp side of things. Like we've said, those dudes are busy playing in custom matches against each other, so they're not in our lobbies unless they're fucking around later at night, you know.
But I think the big problem is there isn't, like, I think there's a couple of problems. One is the cheating situation's a little out of hand, right? So it's like, you know, I know Caps, I know a few other people that, like, they get fed up trying to compete at the high level because they just run into cheaters constantly, you know, and I think the top levels of ranked tend to be way infested.
Yeah, they got to be better about that, but
and as a result, people will play, you know, they get hacked on for 2 hours and in an 8-hour stream, and I think they walk away from it and they're like, all right, I'm going to play pubs for a bit, so I'm not getting hacked on 100% of the time.
Ebates did the same thing the other day, but he just ended stream. He was like, all right, I'm done, right?
So I think the idea, especially with the anti-cheat the way it is, I think the idea that the competitors will stay in ranked all day is not true, because they're going to, because the cheaters are there, right? They're going to have the highest concentration of cheaters per game than anybody else. Because, I mean, look at the top 250. Look at how many of the top 250 got reset.
Yeah, but
the season.
Dude, the top 250 people I watch stay in and play mostly.
Okay, but that's because they're grinding the top 250. But think of all the Crims and Eries that are never going to get there.
I don't know. I'm finding a lot of them in my fucking lobbies now.
But I think it's infested, right? Like the cheat, like and so that's part of the problem, right? You can't have a good competitive feeling if every time you compete you're being hacked on, right? I think I think a lot of people stay in pubs because the ratio of cheaters to players is lower. And so even though people are competitive, and I don't disagree with you that the real competitors, they're going to be in customs, they're going to be in all this other stuff, they're doing this other stuff. They're not, necessarily out trying to pub stomp. I think eventually they get tired of getting, hacked on, and that's an anti-cheat problem as much as anything else. But I think in the state of the game right now, you do end up with a lot more high-skilled players in pubs, even with ranked available, because ranked can be high-level ranked seems like a completely miserable experience.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Most I got to was Diamond. But let me ask you this. Do you think that the player base is at a point where they would start to have an appetite for a more invasive anti-cheat? Like other games, like, say, Valorant?
I mean, Valorant's the only one that has that kind of anti-cheat, and they still are banning people constantly.
Well, what is it that fucking Fortnite uses? Because, okay, every one of these games are going to have some cheaters in it. Like, I'm not saying that, but you don't hear about it as often as you do in Call of Duty, which is weird to me because out of all the games on the market, it's the lowest skill ceiling shooter, and people still feel the need to fucking go cheat. Like, you are literally paying to cheat in a free game like Warzone. That's like, if that ain't beta.
I think we don't hear about it as much because we don't hang out with 12-year-olds.
That's not true. I know a lot of older people that play fucking Fortnite. Stop the hate, bro. It's easy anti-cheat. It's pretty good.
It's I think it's good.
Yeah, Nova's basically agreeing with you too, by the way.
I think it's one of those things where it's like anti-cheat is like, I think the desire for it is not as strong. I think Warzone's just a bigger game in terms of like viewership and money that comes from it. Like the cheats in Fortnite, like the competitive scene in Fortnite is just a different animal. And I think, definitely the content side of Warzone is much bigger and much more lucrative, especially among, I would say the well-knownedness of it, I guess. It's just because it exploded so hard on the scene, back then. And COD has always been a monster in terms of like gameplay. So even though, Fortnite, and look, Fortnite skews younger. All right. It skews to a younger audience. So yeah, there's older players that play it. I've played it, you play it. But it's not like, it's geared towards a younger audience, which I think changes the monetization of it and how often, how people monetize it. And people are more willing to monetize like, to do content that isn't straight up like skill content, right? There's more room for like humor or content geared at younger audiences.
Have you seen their store?
I mean, their store is epic in terms of like, if you just want to goof off, like, I mean, they've had didn't they just have John Wick?
Yeah, but all right, so Deadpool, right? Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but because it's already out all over the place, but the opening credits scene for Deadpool and Wolverine, he's basically fighting to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye, and he's doing the dance while he's doing that. That is now over in Fortnite. That's dope as hell, dude. That's funny.
No, it's great, and it's a great casual game, and I think that's how the vast majority of people take it. Is they take it as a casual game. I think Warzone is taken much more seriously. And I think, you know, the money is bigger in Warzone in terms of content and reach because it targets a wider range of people, right? Warzone targets people. Let's put it this way: Warzone's target audience is people that have money, right? That are 18 plus. They've either got their parents' money in college or they've got they've got a job, right? I mean, let's be honest: single male, 18 to 25, probably 18 to 30, really is a target audience for Call of Duty. Fortnite's target audience is younger. They need to ask their parents for permission, right? Generally speaking. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when it comes to like who you're going to cheat on for views or for clout, right? Like, you're going to go to Call of Duty just in general. It's just going to attract a better audience for that sort of thing.
Yeah. I agree with Mr. Rain here too. He says Activision won't use easy anti-cheat. They should reach out to Microsoft to make Ricochet even better. Which we've talked about that in the past.
Yeah, I don't think they need an anti-cheat, to be honest. I think Microsoft needs to build a gaming operating system that shuts everything off. Like, that's first boots up in a mode that only authorized software and authorized hardware is allowed to be activated and plugged in. Like, if you have a card that's not on the list, like, it won't boot. Like, it'll just boot in safe mode.
Yeah, it'll let you run like your streaming software, your bot or whatever.
Yeah, it's like OBS, you know, Greenlight OBS and the stuff that we use, right? But make it like an Xbox. Like, boot it up and it's like an Xbox. You get Discord, you get, you know, whatever. You get a couple little things, and then everything else you try to side load something. You try to load cheats in. You try to load Excel, for crying out loud, and it just says no. Like, you have to exit game mode to do that. Like, it should be, this is a gaming OS. And because that's what they do for Xbox, right? Like, you just can't load that stuff, and it verifies that thing on boot, right? Like, when you try to connect, it says, you know, that's why jailbroken Xboxes and PlayStations are not a big deal, right? We don't run into that very often because you can't get those online. You try to, and it's like, no. And yeah, some people can say, oh, well, I've got my, you know, you can do it with a dev kit. Those things are like $3,000 a piece, and there's only a handful of them in the world. So it's not like it's a common thing.
Right.
I think if they were to invest in something like that, I think it would change the game forever, because you would just have, you know, you wouldn't need invasive stuff because everything, you know, would be locked down. You just wouldn't be able to do it.
I like that idea. I think you're onto something with that too. I mean, dude, fuck it. We kind of go a little bit out of order here.
If you're listening, we come up with a schedule for our episodes, and, like, you know, we usually try and go through our schedule so we get to everything we want to talk about. And then some days we have it like this, where it's like, screw the schedule, let's do what we want, wing it.
Yeah, I mean, if the conversation's flowing good, I mean, I'm a firm believer in, you know, staying. I like the schedule, but at the same time, I recognize the flow of the conversation. So we were going to talk about the band wave
later.
And I don't know if the actual band wave has actually happened, or we're just starting to kind of get the first trickle of people that are being banned for supposedly updating to Windows 11.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's it at all.
I don't buy it either, dude.
So I did a video on this yesterday, and I keep tabs on a character on Twitter named Ziebler. If you don't know who that is, he owns and runs Phantom Overlay, which is one of the largest cheat providers now that engine owning has crashed and burned and been RICO'd into oblivion. And so he is, you know, he's kind of a character. Friend of the podcast, Caps Lock, has actually done a video series where he interviewed him and it was able to talk to him directly. And so kind of like we all kind of owe Caps Lock a hat tip for dragging him out of the shadows and actually getting him online where he will interact with people and you can talk to people. So, you know, another friend of the podcast, Nuke Jesus, who is a hacker hunter who is, you know, very colorful personality. And him were kind of talking for a bit. And so that Ziebler actually leaked that conversation. Very interesting. But according to Ziebler, the ban wave that we saw actually was a very small boutique cheat provider that had a small 50, 60 person Discord, and that got, and they were what got hit, and that raises the question. So I don't know. We don't know if it's a bigger hit, like if they've detected a bunch of other stuff, and this is just the first one to go, or if what I kind of think is that it was more of a targeted detection, where it's like they got in, identified this Discord provider, and kind of took action against those people. And so it's kind of like, I'm curious. We'll find out over the next couple of weeks if other things open up and we find out more about who got hit. But it's kind of like one of those weird situations where it's not like a total. It isn't a total. It isn't like other ban waves where it's like all of a sudden like hundreds of people, thousands of people are getting lit up. And there's some bigger names in this, which kind of like was kind of the point of my video of like, we don't really know exactly what's going on here. But it was a very interesting detection, and it was a very interesting group of people that got hit. So, I broke that down in the video, but it was basically, there's a couple of different options, right? Of course, it's one of those things. Whenever there's a ban of somebody, of a big name somebody, it's like two camps pop up and kind of go to war with each other, which is interesting to watch. But you have the camp of like all streamers are cheaters, right? So obviously he got caught because he was cheating. And then you have the camp of he wasn't cheating and it was a fake ban or something, right? And I think it's interesting because Activision's been very clear that they don't fake ban, right? Like when they ban somebody permanently, and this has probably not always been the case. This is probably a more recent development, probably in the last 2 years, probably Warzone 2 going forward. They probably started it. I'm going to tell you this. They probably started it after the launch of Warzone 2 when they banned a bunch of people for the Razer Synapse software, which, if you're unfamiliar with PCs, is basically like Razer's in-house controller for all of their stuff. Like I have it on my PC because I have a Razer camera. Like I'm looking at, Razer right here, right? And so Synapse comes with that, and it comes with their controllers, and it comes with their lights and stuff. And it was something about the RGB controller was being detected weird, and that was like the and that was the issue that they ran it. That got a whole bunch of people banned, and then they all got unbanned, and everybody was like, "See, it happened." And so I think after that, they got a lot more careful about actually making sure that they were detecting cheats rather than something else. So I think there's a bit from that point forward. I haven't really seen anything that resembles that ban wave, that kind of ban wave again. Mm-hmm. But you get these two camps up, right? And so they kind of go back and forth. And I think it's always an interesting debate, right, between the two. But I think the biggest, so there's always the option, right? Like, yeah, maybe everybody who got banned was actually using cheats, and that that can't be ruled out. Right, it's definitely possible. I think personally, when you look at people and their play style, usually you can see when people are like bigger names are probably cheating because they're going to be kind of called sus by other big names. Like that typically you tend to see that a bit more, and people start to get more
call their own out very often.
No, you don't see it very often, and so like when it does go down, it's kind of like, oh, okay. Like that tends to be thinking like there was just somebody who was just banned recently that like big somebody, it was what's his name from World Series of Warzone, right?
Are you talking about the Reload guy?
I guess so. I don't remember
the one that had the .20 KD on land, like eBay's called it.
Yeah, that guy? Yeah. Like people were like kind of like, dude, this guy's sus. Like early on, right? Like that. It was a thing. It wasn't a big thing. And so it's kind of like you got to kind of like weigh a little bit of like the history of it before somebody gets banned. So it's definitely possible that that these people were all using cheats, and or had used them at some point, right? Even if they weren't consistent. And then you have kind of a second possibility where this was what Bobby Poff was the one that got caught recently. Got banned recently, of streamers. A lot of times they do tend to pay people to level their accounts, and for people who say that, I know. I know Carlos brought not Carlos. Mushroom 49er brought this up in my comments. Why don't we ever see this? Or Carlos did. I don't remember. But somebody brought this up in the comments of like, you never see this. I'm like, you do if you look. Like, wait until like early November, and you'll see people that have been like, all right, I already finished my camo grind. I want to do it again. Pay me, and I'll do it repeatedly. And so it's out there, and it's definitely a market for it, which I think for this reason specifically is a stupid thing to do, especially if you're a big name, because you don't really know who you're paying most of the time. Right. And even if you do, there have been people that have had accounts banned because they trusted somebody they've known for a long time, and that person was, tooled the account anyways because it was a quick buck. Right. And so, the thing with those unlock tools is they leave fingerprints, right? When they get detected, when those cheap providers get detected, everybody who had their account tooled, all the tooled accounts go down. Like, it's just how it works, right? And it's inevitable. Everybody gets detected eventually.
Well, so it's not just camos people are using the unlock tools for either. Let's keep that a buck. I mean, they're using it for weapons early and all attachments and shit like that. So in a way, it's still cheating, bro. Like, because you're manipulating.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm pointing out that, like, there's a difference between. Well, look, unlock tools is cheating. It is cheating, right? But it's if you pay someone to grind your camos and they grind your camos, right, legitimately, like, that's a different conversation than if somebody tools the account. Whether you pay for the tool, whether you do the tooling yourself, or you pay someone and they do the tooling unbeknownst to you, it doesn't matter, right? Your account is still injected with cheats. Okay, that's just how it is. So your account is going to be banned eventually if that happens to you, right? Because eventually that cheat will get detected. And so in the case of Bobby, I mean, that was his defense. I'm not here to tell you what is real, because nobody knows.
We don't know, and we're not going to pass judgment on that.
I'm just looking at the facts that we do know, and kind of like trying to determine where the most likely scenarios go. So it could be that he's, like I said, it could be he's cheating. It could be he's not, right? And then it could be his account got tooled, whether he knowingly or unknowingly allowed that to happen. It doesn't matter. And then it could be, there's kind of another aspect of it where people in that account, in those discords, Ricochet will actively get into cheating discords and will find people and make targeted attacks against those individuals. And we know this because they did it against the Cronus people. And that's one of those things that I don't think a lot of people understand, is that when the big Cronus ban wave came last year, right? You notice there hasn't been a lot of talk about that since then.
Mm-mm.
There were a couple of little things that their AI, which is dog shit, I'll tell you that right now. Their AI learning is dog shit. A couple little things that they could detect. Rapid fire, right? Like consistently always shooting the same, pulling the trigger exactly the same amount of time between shots. Like, they can pick that up. It doesn't get used very often. But they had a huge ban wave, and the leadership got hit even harder than other members of the Discord. And what they figured out was that Activision Ricochet had people in the Discord for Cronus, and they, over time, put together a dossier of everybody using it. And the biggest offenders, the people that were pushing their scripts and pushing their product and advertising it on YouTube, they all got a week. The leadership and programmers got a month, and everybody else got like 24 hours.
Why they didn't just permanently ban them? Fuck them. I mean, at the end of the day, fuck them.
I mean, yeah, but it wasn't a mechanical detection, right? They weren't actively discovering your Cronus. They were discovering your Discord, right? Like, that's how they knew that's how they were able to hit who had what. And so it was kind of a weird scenario, but like something like that, right, is another possibility. So, but the difference is like that, to me, that is one of the weirder scenarios where if they're targeting people because they're in a Discord, then that's the highest rate of collateral, right? Because people can be in Discords for all kinds of different reasons. You know, as I've said in previous videos on this topic, I've been in these Discords, not on my main, you know, I have alternate Discords because I don't want to, for this reason, I don't want to cross the stream. So when I'm researching something, when I want to find out what's going on and keep tabs on stuff, right? I'm not going to use my main account for that. But like, I got to watch it all play out in real time. It was kind of fascinating to watch, you know, as the panic and like everybody flipping out, and then the leadership being like, what the hell is going on? And they were able to, you know, and then everybody starts comparing notes, and they were able to put together a list of like who's been banned from the Discord, and they figured out that, oh shit, this is targeted because of look at the hours that people, you know, look at the time that people were being given, right? The leadership and the programmers, the people that creating this stuff, they were given the most time. The people selling it was given like a block of time, and everybody else was given like a warning, basically. And it's like, oh, it really obvious when you look at like how they meted the punishment out, who, you know, what was going on. So I think it's one of those things of like, when you have that sort of scenario, when you have Activision in these Discords, you know, then you have the probability, you know, the possibility of people that, you know, like, because like Caps Lock has been in these sort of Discords. You know, like I said, I was in. I've been kicked out of these Discords now because I'm not a paying member. But you know, I was in some of these Discords. What's that other one that just got
the Warzone Agent one?
Warzone Agent. Yeah, I was in Warzone Agent's Discord for a long time watching them. Got invited to that. Realized what they were doing. I was like, I'm not touching that. But it was fun to watch what they were doing. And then, you know, got kicked out of that one after their detection. And so we know they're doing that. And just for that reason, like, there's definitely the possibility of collateral, right? Maybe, you know, so I think that guy Nuke Jesus, who this morning I think I saw reported his account was unbanned. So he's back, I guess. And I think that's one of those things of like, you know, it leans more towards like a targeted setup versus a mechanical detection, right? Mm-hmm. It leans towards they are Discord focused, and you know, and it could be a combination of both. Everybody they identified in the Discord, plus they were able to, you know, to do a detection on it and ban everybody who got, you know, every account that got tooled by somebody in it. So, you know, I think there's a lot of things going on and a lot of factors and a lot of possibilities that it's really hard to sit down and be like, oh, well, obviously this is what happened, because there's a lot of what ifs out there that are all legitimate what ifs. So it's just one of those things of like, you know, I think it's important to talk about and keep tabs on who's, you know, who gets banned and like what goes on. But I think it's very hard to draw concrete conclusions, especially in cases like this, where it's a weird mix of people that have been banned. You know, you got guys like Nuke Jesus, and you got guys like Bobby Poff, and like I think this is was it Shifty? Was it somebody else? Another big name I think got caught a ban or something, or reported catching a ban. And it's weird. It's a weird mix of people that reported catching it. Unlike when like Phantom got detected, or when some of these other other cheats get detected, and it's kind of like you get a lot of the TikTok wires coming like, I don't know why I got banned. This is false, right? And you're like, okay, it's not. And it's like no, you were cheating, right? Like, let's be honest. I've seen your gameplay. You were cheating. And so it's just a weird mix of people that like all kind of reported bans. And so I think it's an interesting. This one's interesting, more interesting than usual, I think.
But to use the unlock tool excuse is fucking stupid. Like, at this point, it's kind of the equivalent of going out and drinking a 12-pack and getting in the car. We all know that that's a bad fucking idea and you shouldn't do it for several reasons. Don't use a goddamn unlock tool. Don't pay some, like, there are just, these things are just avoidable, dude. They really are. And who cares if, I mean, again, if you're playing 8 to 12 hours a day and your viewers can't understand that you're going to take a 1 or 2 hour deal of that and actually grind camos and shit, like, what? Like, it's just stupid, dude. It's unnecessary. You're taking a risk, and then, you know, it's like going to the zoo and poking the bear. The bear might rip your fucking arm off if you do it too many times. Like, just stop.
You know, and it's, look, I understand. I'm gonna say this as if you're a big Warzone streamer specifically, I understand the allure of paying someone to level camos. I do, because from an economic standpoint, if you stream 8 hours a day, right, 8 to 10 hours a day, and that's a main source of your revenue, right, your audience is not likely going to sit through you grinding camos.
Not all day.
They're not. No, but if you want your camo, if you want the camos done, that's what you have to do, right?
Do you want to make money, or do you want fucking camos? Are the camos making you money?
Maybe. You know, I think it definitely lends. I mean, look, I grind camos. It lends to my credibility when I talk about camo grinding, right? When I talk about the topic. I don't know what goes on in their heads. I don't know their financials, so I can't really speak to that directly. But there's definitely a correlation between having mastery camos early and perceived skill, right? If you have somebody who has the master, if you see two streamers and one of them has their mastery camos done, there's an implicit implication that they are skillful enough to get that done and get it done quickly. I'm not saying that there should be or not. I'm just saying that there will tend to be, right? It's kind of like, you know, analogies aren't working this morning for me, but so if you're a Warzone player, right, and it's going to take you, you know, 20 hours, 30 hours, or whatever, however long it takes to grind those camos out, it's going to cut away from your stream time. And let's be clear, the early part of a game is like the most lucrative, right? That's when people want to know, they want to see what's going on, they want to see the game, right? So if you're not playing the game and you're grinding camos and you're not playing Warzone, you're not playing, you know, you're not playing for content, you're playing to grind these camos. But camo grinds can be boring as shit to do, much less watch. Like, it's lost money, right? So from an economic standpoint, I get it. It makes a lot of sense of like, why would I waste my stream time grinding camos? Like, I don't grind camos on stream. Have you ever seen me grind camos on stream?
No, I don't know.
Because it's boring as shit. You're like holding the same angle for like the entire game. Or you're surfing lobbies until you get one, you know, until you get the right map that has, you know, the scenario that you need. Okay? Like, it sucks. It's boring as can be. And so if you're a Warzone streamer, you're going to play Warzone and make your money, and it's worth it to pay somebody to do the bullshit on the side from a financial standpoint. Like,
then
I get it.
Complain about getting a fucking ban because that person's yacked up.
And like I said at the top of the episode, you're an idiot if you actually trust people in this world, especially in this scene. Like, there's no reason to, right? Somebody, you know, and that's the thing, right? Like, there's no scenario in which grinding camos for, you know, is worth, you know, no one's going to pay you enough to make it worth the hourly rate to do it. Like, it's just not a thing. So it's like, of course people are going to take shortcuts, especially you get some young kids, some college kid, like, I got time. And then they have to sit there and grind through it. They're going to do it. And so it's not like, so I get the appeal of paying someone to do it while you're in bed, right? You wake up and I've got, like, you know, 20 new camos. Perfect. But it's like, we're past the point in this scene where that makes sense, like, from a logical standpoint, and certainly from a safety standpoint. Like you should, if you are a big name in the scene, you should not trust your account with anybody. So, you know, people are taking risks, and they're not weighing it properly. I think people have, some people probably have too much trust in the people around them that they know, right? And that they think that they trust they won't take shortcuts. And it's one of those things that there's no way to measure that, right? There's no way to know how those if someone's taking a shortcut until it's too late. So,
well, the other thing is, though, too, is like, and it's not just this situation, it's other things that have kind of popped up. I think you have, like you said earlier, you have two camps. You got people that are rushing out to condemn and cancel, and then you have people that are rushing out to defend. Neither side really knows the fucking facts yet. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's all hearsay unless somebody posts receipts, and that's happened a few times. You know, there's been a few big name account bans where they've posted receipts, and then you know, DMs and whatever. And so, you know, I think that's, you know, that to me goes a long way of being like, all right, that's probably what you did. You were dumb and you're paying the penalty for it. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's just dumb. You shouldn't do it. Like, I know, I like I said, I get the appeal. I understand the economics of it, but I think it's a terrible decision if you're going to end up doing that. If you want to master camos.
Isn't that like so many things with this fucking game? It's like we understand why, but it's just dumb as shit. You know, I totally get it. I mean, I'm with you, man. I don't grind camos. Like I just said in chat, if I unlock shit in the course of the game, great. If not, I really don't care because I usually find one or two camos that I like for that particular game. And those are the ones that I'll run or whatever. I don't really care. I mean, the event camos have been really good lately. Like that magma one is probably my favorite one that we've had for a while. But then also too, look at the weapon mastery or weapon prestige camos or whatever. The gold, the obsidian, and the mercury. Like, and those are done through playtime. Like you can literally unlock those just by playing the game and getting all the XP. So.
Which Purgatory was a great mode for. I've been working on my BP 50 because I really love that SMG right now, and that's been, you know, I've got the third camo unlocked, and I'm working on the final camo for that. That'll probably be the only one that gets that treatment. But you know, I agree. Like, you know, and here's the thing. Like people talk about, you know, so come on, my friends have asked, why do you bother camo grinding? Because something that I've learned from the camo grind now 2 years in a row is you get to learn the guns, right? So if you're not like a top tier player who just, you know, you can just pick up any gun in the game and you're good with it. You know, of which there are, you know, we know a lot of those players, like, you know, they can just, it doesn't matter what, you could pick up a broomstick with a piece of shit on the end of it and they're going to get, you know, 20 kills with it.
Sons of bitches.
There's just, but you know, if you're like me, where it's like, you know, I have to put the time in to learn to use the guns properly, and I do through the camo grinding. I learn all the, you know, I have hundreds of kills with every single gun by the time I'm done, right? In all kinds of different configurations and in all kinds of different scenarios, because, you know, sometimes you have to do sliding nut shots, you know, with a bunny hop at the end in order to get the camo 25 times.
Take a back shot 25 times and you get the.
And so you learn how to use all the different guns, and which is great in Warzone because I pick up a piece of ground loot, you know, some piece of shit ground loot, and I know what it's going to do. Like I understand how that gun's going to function because I've killed with it a whole ton of times. So I'm excited. Like from my point of view, I don't even want to. It's not as much. I mean, it is the camo. I like the camos a lot of times. But it's also about learning the guns, and like and there's a discipline in having to do that is not, I have not traditionally had playing this game because, you know, like I've said, I was dirty casual for a long time, and I think it's made me a better player. It's made me more confident when I do play, and you know, and I've said this before in previous episodes where it's like, you know, I've played with guys that are not very, you know, they aren't highly skilled in general, and so it's like. And there have been scenarios where it's like, you know, there's like a couple of guys, like somebody's down, somebody's cracked. And it's like, we could push that team right now and get them off the table. But nobody wants to go and fight because they're not happy with their ground loot, right? They don't know how to fight with the ground loot that they have. And so they end up, you know, staying away from it. And that team goes off and regains. And so I think it's one of those things that like, we have to be, you know, I think it's very helpful to know the guns and know how they're going to react and know what you can do with them and have practiced in it, right? So that when you do fight somebody off rip, that you have that like experience.
So a couple things. One, with your little scenario there, you just raised my fucking blood pressure for the day. As far as having teammates who don't want to push. Second, you know, as I just mentioned here in chat, like, I will say this though. So since Warzone has come out with this whole meta system that we have, that has changed the way, especially considering that it's tied to whatever yearly title is, to what weapons I've used. You know, like usually I'll rank up, I'll max out and unlock everything for every AR, every SMG, and then I'll work snipers, then you know, marksmen, battle rifles, whatever, LMGs, and then shotguns and melee are absolute last. Like I don't really screw a whole lot with those. And you know, I've been fortunate to have pretty much everything unlocked whenever a new meta comes up. I already have it unlocked. But
Yeah.
I also am fortunate because I'm typically most times throughout the year able to play a significant amount during the week.
Right.
I just wish that translated into me being a better player, though. That's what kind of sucks about it. If I'm just being honest, you know.
Well, you know, there's a Discord forum that'll help you with that.
And here we are again.
No, but I think it's one of those things of like, you know, it like I personally can't stand people who cheat and like and who just tool their camos because it's like I think it cheapens the experience, you know, the efforts that people go through who actually unlock it legitimately. And so, you know, I don't, you know, I typically have low regard for people who tool their accounts, regardless of your reasoning, you know, which is usually stupid reasoning anyways. So like, you know, I want to be clear. It's not like I approach the scenario where it's like, oh, sometimes it's okay. I just, you know, but I have to face, you know, the reality that for some scenarios, for some people, like it makes sense economically. Like I don't want to be clear on that, but yeah, I think it's I think camo grinding does, you know, can be really beneficial, and it's funny because I love to, you know, I always tell the story. You brought up like always having your guns leveled, right? And it's like, you know, I've told you this story probably repeatedly. Longtime listeners will know where I'm going with it. But in Caldera, there was that one gun that LMG. Gosh, I can never remember the damn name.
It was
of that
the
thing.
disc one. It's like the D something.
No. It was the UMG 8. The UMG 8.
Is that the one that's similar to like if you had to equate it to like modern day, like the M60 almost, like looking wise?
Yeah, it was kind of like it almost looked like an MG42 or something like that.
Fed?
It was kind of, yeah, it was a belt feeder, and it was you know, it was meta like 3 times. There was like a burst mode barrel, right, and then there was like the regular barrel, and I don't know. It was meta like 3 different times, and so I leveled it up, and I was telling my buddy, you got to use it, and so it became a burst mode. Like the second burst mode meta came around, and I was like, I told my buddy, you got to use this gun, and like I finally dropped one for him, and he picked it up, and he's like, okay, I get it, like this is a really good gun. And so he goes and you know, with his playtime, he was only logging like an hour and a half a week or a day, and it took a while for him to, and he wasn't playing multiplayer, so it took him like a week to get it leveled up. And he finally gets, you know, because it was like back then you had to get like level 68 to get the or the brand. It wasn't the brand. It was something else. But like he gets it leveled up, and he's like, all right, you know, we played one night, and he just he didn't set his PR, but it was close. He had a really good time with it. He was flying with it, and he wakes up the next morning, and they nerfed it into the dirt.
It happens.
And it was like, for me, I thought I felt bad for him. I thought it was kind of hilarious, but for him, it was like, you know, it was soul crushing to have put that much effort in for it to get wiped off, and it just like proved the point that because I had leveled it up previously, like when it became meta, when it came around to being meta again, I could just hop in and run it, and I think that's something that is not, and I think that's something that a lot of people miss out on a lot of times is when they only play with the guns that are meta, or you know, they play with the same guns consistently. When things shift, they're caught flat-footed. They don't have any. They're not there, right? And so it's like, you know, there's a lot of folks that, you know, yeah, they're leveling the DTIR right now, and they're playing with that, but they're also like, you know, the SMGs. You know, there's some good SMGs out there that they just don't have leveled.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. You know how to solve that?
Play more. Don't be a pussy.
No, no, no. I'm not feeling that
Loot
spicy
boxes?
today.
Loot boxes?
No, just fucking don't have loadouts and just loot. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Just flip a coin. We'll just make Call of Duty coin flipper.
Hey, I'm here for it, man. I'm telling you, like I said before, if they gave us a mode, right? You don't have to, if you want to keep the loadout bros happy, like if they gave us just a mode where I could go in and we had a decent player pool, we could go in and loot for attachments, no perks, none of that, and it was more like Blackout, I literally would never, ever play another mode on this game ever again.
Which is probably why they won't do it, just for that. Just because they heard you. And we're like, nope. Jay,
well, listen, the other thing, too, I was thinking about this earlier. It's funny that you say that. I was thinking about this earlier while we were talking. You know, when you were talking about what they're targeting age-wise and stuff like that, we ain't it, bro. Not anymore. You're 40, yeah, I'm 46. Like,
bless your heart for calling me only 40. I appreciate you.
41, whatever. I don't know. You're still fucking
42
not far away
buddy.
from AARP.
Fuck you. Anyway, yeah. So, but no, you're right. We are not the target audience, right? Like our kid, like we are rapidly approaching we're the target audience because we will give our kids money to buy stuff. That's what our target will be. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, we're kind of horseshoeing into that. We're becoming closer to the casual, like to the newbie casuals in a way, in that, you know, they need to protect us from the 20-year-olds who are flying and give us give us the AARP discount on stuff.
I mean, if they had a senior discount in the store, cool or whatever, but I'm not worried about being overly protected. And I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and say it. My son's going to listen back to this shit. I will beat the fucking brakes off of him for as long as I can, probably into his 20s in this game. So,
and then he will.
And he's actually not a bad player.
At one point, you will reach the point where he will beat you, or he has the ability to beat you. And if you're smart, the game before that point is the last game you two will play together against each other.
Yeah, I'm telling you though. Yeah, no, it's funny because he'll talk shit to me, dude. And you know what it is because he knows what my KD is, and he's thinking that that's literally the only indicator of like a decent player or whatever. And he has a higher KD than I do, and that's cool. But I'm like, listen, dude, you're not playing in the same types of fucking lobbies I'm playing in with Jigsy, Riddick, and everybody else, bro. Like. You're playing with your fucking 1.0 and less friends. I'm playing with people a lot of times that are significantly better than me. And yeah, it was great. Last week, 2-3 weeks ago, when I beat the brakes off him, it was awesome.
It's always fun because you always get somebody. I find it endearing when someone talks smack and then it's like you actually get them to 1v1 and it's like, oh, no. You don't understand how this works.
Yeah.
It's great. So
I had a guy in the gulag last night, actually. He gets on Proc's chat and he's like, I'm going to shit all over you. And I'm like, okay. So then, like, I'm not going to lie, dude. I shit on him. And as soon as I did, I'm hitting fucking Z and I'm talking shit to him, too. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't turn on the game again and then get another warning like I did that one time from talking shit to that other guy. And Plunder, too, remember? And for those of you that don't know, this cat and Plunder, he's literally up on top of one of the smoky stacks over by like the bathhouse or like the mosque or whatever. And he's just camping up there. I ended up talking so much shit to this kid and bullying this kid to peek out and give me a headshot. I fucking domed him and killed him, talked shit and then left. And then promptly the next day I hop on and I get a comm ban warning.
Perfect. I had one. So I posted a clip, was it yesterday, day before yesterday, I think, of me hitting a guy with a throwing knife and then being disrespectful and just instead of like finishing him or doing anything, I just turned around, like I teabagged him a little bit and then I just walked away, and let him bleed himself out because, you know, toxicity and all that. The context I didn't throw into that of why I did that is because earlier I ran into him and he hit me with a throwing knife in the middle of the gunfight, which surprised the hell out of me, and then teabagged the shit out of me while I bled out. And so it was kind of like, it was one of those ones where it was like there was that back and forth, right? I was on Xbox. I think I was playing on the Xbox, so I didn't have I didn't have a chance to talk shit to him in game. But yeah, when you actually catch somebody and you win that one-on-one back like that, you gotta just be toxic as shit. If you're not being toxic, I mean, it's like, why play the game?
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, that's kind of been part of Call of Duty's culture for the most part
from the beginning, right? Like it was one of those first games like where people actually were like, I mean, especially as a longtime console player, it's one of the first games where people were actually like in that mixed, like, you're not just with your teammates, you're not on the LAN, you're not physically with somebody, you're not all playing on the couch, right? Couch co-oping. And so I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's just a lot of fun to actually be able to experience that again.
You know what? I think that's also a culture thing too, because I've watched people play from the UK. They don't talk shit like we do over here in America.
They lost 2 world wars. We had to come and save them out twice, right? Like, they don't have any room to talk.
That's fucking hilarious. But like, even in their own lobbies, they're not talking shit. They're like, jolly good try, chap. Like, I'm like, fuck you. I just shit on your mother. Dude, you told a dude, and I'll never forget it. You told the dude that you were going to have sex with his grandma, even if she was dead. I mean, what the fuck, dude? Oh, that was so great, dude. Somebody commented to me, they're like, I can't believe someone said that. And I'm like, can't you? Can't you? I mean, yeah, he puts nerd shit out on fucking on Twitter all the time, but yeah, he'll talk shit to you too.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things of like, I've actually had to, so I've taken all of my VODs private because I have been discovered by my kids' school, and so I actually have there's kids. Liam, if you're listening, hello. There's kids. Oh
shit! No, you don't need to be listening to this.
That are out there, finding my YouTube and stuff. So it's like I've had to take all my Twitch VODs. I take them all private because I usually am streaming past their bedtime, which is good for me for now. But also, that sort of stuff is not what they need to be. I don't need to be the influence that teaches them how to say that stuff. So it's kind of like I feel like I'm in a weird spot where it's like I want to have fun and talk shit at the same time. I now feel like I have to be a little bit more of a role model sometimes, which is why I just take it private so I don't have to worry about it.
It's funny, like not long ago, I was talking shit to somebody and J-Rock came in chat. He was like, yeah, the whole like ladies soccer team at so-and-so high school just heard that. I'm like, Jay, if you're listening to me on speakers, don't. I'm like, don't ever listen to me on speakers or anything.
That is a strategic failure.
Yeah, it really is, because I can't keep my mouth shut. My wife had to build a room for me because I talk shit to people so loud.
I got thrown out into the garage. I got put in a detached garage because my daughter, the walls in her house are thinner than I'm used to.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, did you see the Goj release the he runs a website, Warzone Earnings? Did you see the Warzone Earnings?
Some of them, yeah. There's some money out there for sure.
Holy shit! So let me guess. Can you guess who the top 3 earners are?
Let me guess. They just won the World Series of Warzone.
Biffle number 1, $689,870 for 143 events played.
Is Shifty that yearly?
No, I think that's just all time since he started playing. But even so, dude, that's a lot of damn money.
Yeah,
that's a shit. Because also too, think about this. That's just tournament winnings. That's not endorsements. That's not Twitch money, YouTube money, whatever. Like, that's not all the other ways they monetize.
Yeah, that's just tournament winnings.
At 593,271, 218 events. And then Soka is not too far behind, $557,913 dollars at 245, and then Aiden is number 4 for 549, 593, 168 events. But so if I remember correctly, and I could have this wrong, Aiden actually got his start playing Fortnite tournaments and winning shit over there. So I bet you he's probably won more than the top 3 if you look at all of his earnings.
Yeah, that's, you know what, I don't feel bad with my like $2,700 that I've made streaming. So,
dude, I feel bad because I gave it all away. I could have a new PC.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's one of, I don't know. I think the amount of money that you can earn by being good at this game is crazy.
It really is.
Understand, like, especially anybody who's a bit younger, where winning tournaments and stuff is normal. Like, Jay and I grew up in an era in which the idea that you could make money playing video games, not, you know, you could make money owning an arcade or making them, but like playing video games was foreign to us. Like the very first like Nintendo World Champion, they made a stupid ass movie about it, which was hilarious and wonderful.
That movie was great. Don't you slander that movie?
Yeah, it's a great movie. I'm terrified to watch it because I feel like I would hate it if I watch it today. But just remembering watching it as a kid when it came out was amazing.
Old boy breaks out the power glove. Hell yeah!
It's so bad. Yeah.
For those of you that don't know,
there's a reason I have a power glove.
Yeah,
in my
but it ain't in there.
No. It's over there. It's over there.
Did you put it in glass? I remember when we had Pro Reborn on here. He about shit himself when he's looking at all your collection, and he's like, none of that is in glass or fucking sleeves.
I ordered some sleeves for some of the games, so I'll actually start taking care of my shit. But yeah, no, it is definitely one of those things where, there's money to be made in video games, and it blows my mind. You know, used to be, get off those video games. What are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do? Play those for a living? And it's like, you can do that now. It's like, boggles my mind. My daughter wants to be a YouTuber and a Minecraft streamer. I'm like, probably should start playing Minecraft instead of watching people stream it. But I like your tenacity. I like your idea.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even as soon as like during the pandemic, you know, I started streaming somewhere. So when I started streaming on Twitch, I was doing it during World War II, Call of Duty World War II. And it was only because I traveled for work and I wanted something to do in my room. So I would just watch my VODs back and try to figure out how I might be able to get better at the game. And then I around Blackout, I started to kind of want to get a little more serious about it and, you know, develop a schedule and just like build my setup and everything else. Dude, during the pandemic, so Mixer closed down in June. We come in here, we moved over here. I made affiliate here on Twitch within 7 days. I think it might have even been less. I was in the Embers program over there, but I didn't really make a lot of money doing that. But for like 2.5 years, dude, I was making $300 to $400 a month just playing games. And it was great. But the problem is I was donating it and gifting subs and everything else, and I don't have shit to show for it. So I was very irresponsible with my money there. You know what, though? It's
yeah. I think one of the problems Kick has is that it's a closed loop for most people. Like when I was over streaming on Kick exclusively, and you know, I was making a decent amount. I was making about $120 a month over there. But most of those were from other streamers. Like there wasn't a viewing audience that wasn't also on Kick. And so it would kind of be like I'd have people on, and you know, I'd have people, they would you know, throw some gifted here or there, they'd sub, and then you know, and then it was almost a follow for follow expectation that I would go into their streams and like, you know, kind of give it back, right? It's like it was kind of like there's this, it felt like there was like a pool of dollars that was just rolling around Kick, like between streamers. It was kind of a weird experience. And so it's like, you know, I totally understand how you end up in that boat where it's like you're in one stream, you throw them, you know, you throw them a gifted here or there, and then it's like, you know, next week they throw you a gifted, and you're just back and forth on it. And it's a weird cycle to get into, and I think it can hurt growth too, because you're not meeting viewers, you're meeting other streamers, like and it's not even like a competitive thing. It's just like, you got to have viewers, like people that are just there to watch, people that aren't like streamers on the side.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Kick has been missing.
Well, I think a lot of these different platforms are missing. And it's funny, we didn't even have this really on the docket to talk about, but I mean, I think it's a great conversation because, the amount of support I've been able to give out, since my support dried up has dried up too. And it's because also too, I'm not taking money out of the family money to go out and gift Jim Bob 30 subs. I'm just not going to do it. And I always took the approach of whenever I had a good night or a good month on Twitch, my friends were going to too. And I didn't expect anything in return. Like I don't ever do anything for anyone thinking that they're going to do something back for me. If they do, great. I don't join a community in order to grow my own. I always figure that if people like me based on the merits of my personality, then so be it. They'll want to follow or whatever. I think a lot of people too, like that whole follow for follow bit is a fucking joke. It ends up being a goddamn pyramid scheme when you really look at it. And only a select few people at the top actually benefit from it. And so that's why I won't do it, man. I won't do follow for follow. I just don't do it. They don't ever come into your stream.
Or they do for like 1 second and they say hi and then they leave and then you never see them again. And
for the night.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things of like, and you see it on Twitter too. And everywhere else where it's like, people will follow you, but then they'll unfollow you if you don't follow them back. And it's like, it's a weird content creation's a weird space to be in compared to like other networking. It's like, when I was in real estate, I was networking all the time. I had activities every day of the week, just about focused on the industry and other agents and vendors and whoever else, trying to build a network of people to work with. And it was always understood that I'm doing that because you might have a house that I want my client wants, and I need that edge. I need that in, right? And that, you might have a package or be able to do an inspection on the fly. I have the perfect example of why we would network, right? I had someone that I'd worked with previously had taken over an inspection, sales role in my territory. So we reconnected. And she'd been trying to get my business for a while, but I had another inspector that I'd worked with. And so, she did a good job of networking with me and staying in touch. And one day I had, as I described it, I needed a very small person to fit into a very small hole. Right. And, we were doing an old house. It was a beautiful house. And they needed to get to a part of the foundation, and the hole was like 18 by like 14.
Yeah, and your giant ass ain't getting in there. That's for sure.
And it's like, and I needed somebody small that I could shove in that hole and be like, go take some pictures. And I called her and I'm like, who do you got? And she goes, I have somebody. And she's like, I got a Filipino for you. And I was like, what? And this little dude shows up and he's like, a little skinny guy. And he's like, hey, I'm here. And it was. And he went right in, and it was great. And house sold, made some money, and it was one of those perfect experiences of why networking is so great. Is because when you are specifically networking for business, and that look, you and I are not having this conversation because we're going to be friends. You and I are having this conversation because one day it's going to benefit us at some point. And I feel like content creation doesn't have that aspect of it. It's very much like, we're going to be best friends. Like, let's be besties. It's like, no, we're not going to be besties. Like, you want me to advertise your points and talk about you, come to your stream and promote you to my viewers. And the hope is that you will do the same for me. Let's just be real about where we're at. Like, we don't need to be besties. And I feel like there's a lot of that. And it creates this infighting, this like bickery, like, contentious scene that is just like, it's weird.
people fighting over viewers and shit like that, getting salty if somebody gifts you 5 subs or whatever and didn't gift that to me or whatever. Yeah, it's silly as fuck.
It's so weird to me. It's like, dude,
petty as hell too.
Like, you know, you're running a business, I'm running a business. Like, yeah, we're a little bit competitors, but at the same time, like, we don't have to be dicks to each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's like, I don't know. I think a lot of people in this scene, just in the content scene in general, just they've never had that business experience. They've never been in the world, like in the outside world, trying to like learn how networking works, like talk to your competitors and do all that stuff. And I think it's a negative. You know, I think it hurts the scene at the end of the day. And you end up with these like follow for follow trains, and it's like, and you know, everybody eventually turns, you know, all bickery.
Don't you just love also, like I've said before, the graphic designers coming in doing some shit like that too? I had another one come in last night, and they come in every fucking time, probably in the first 10 minutes of stream, and it's like, hi, I like your vibe. Your gameplay is great. It's like, dude, I literally just got shit on shipment for 5 minutes, and now you're telling me you like my gameplay? Like, stop it. I just got to where I just straight ask. I'm like, hey, are you trying to sell me fucking graphics? Because if you are, I am not interested, homie.
Out, right.
Yeah,
I was there for that one, and you were like, you snapped at him, and like, you know, I don't want your graphics or something, or like, you know, I'm not here for graphics. I don't know, something like that. You had some snappy reply when they said hi, and they fucking read you the riot act, and they were like, you know, they were like totally guilt tripped you, and they were like, oh, you know, this is how you treat your new viewers. And I'm like, damn, dude. And I'm like, and I think I put something like, you know, he gets a lot of graphic designers like hitting him up like that. So, you know, he just, you know, sorry, you know, on his behalf. And then fucking 2 minutes later, so how are your graphics?
I told you, dude, you can spot him from a damn mile away, dude. Like, and here's the thing. I have to, my job, my whole adult life has been about extracting cash from other people for goods or services. Okay. That's what I do. I build relationships. That's why you're on the corner all the time. I'm good at what I do, my job. And so it's like, my thing to those people, and even these follow for follow douchers, is like, go be a part of the community, man. Like, get to know people. And then based on the merits of how you are with those people, then people will want to buy your services and promote your stream and those kind of things. But don't go into it like with the only singular thought that like, that's how I'm going to grow my stream, or I'm only in here to grow. I want to meet like-minded people, and I'm trying to be cool with pretty much everybody. You know, so that's just kind of the way I am. But, you know, I know we had on the agenda to talk about the history of Warzone. I think we should punt that to either next episode or the following, just because we're kind of getting late on time. Unless,
no, that's fine.
And
we've kind of
go ahead
that a bit.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Ubisoft news has been interesting. They have been train wrecking themselves, and I know we talked about that a little bit last week. But dude, I am so close to writing. I almost started recording that bit. I've been working on this thing for a damn year and a half. This post, it'll either be a great video, it'll be a bomb that nobody watches, or it'll fucking get me canceled. I'm not sure which. Probably why I haven't put it out yet.
Can I review that first, just since, you know, because I can't have half of the podcast getting fucking canceled, bro.
But, you know, I mean, Ubisoft is in a bad state right now, man. Like, they're getting eyeballed for being bought out by the Chinese, man. That's weird. Well, it's weird to see them that bad, that down hard.
And you know what? I think it all comes down to, this has been mentioned before. Stay on your subject matter. Like, stay on it. Stop. First of all, they reinvented the wheel with Rainbow Six Siege. You know, that game lost a lot of its diehard fans. It might have gained some new ones, but a lot of the older people that like got our start on that game, we're gone. We're not playing hero shooters anymore. Ghost Recon, they completely changed it. Assassin's Creed, they're taking 8 years, it seems like, between games. And then there's obviously the controversy of, you know, what they're doing with Assassin's Creed. You know, and they just have some other properties that they've actually failed on. And I'm wondering, though, if if taking them private might actually be better for those games and for the people that want to play them, because those decisions are going to be made by a select handful, like maybe a couple people, versus going to a fucking boardroom and looking at charts and graphs. I mean, I think there'll still be a certain degree of that, but like, you know, taking it private versus, you know, a publicly traded company, and you have all these other people who are invested in your company that don't even give a shit about games. All they care about is the bottom line, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, Ubisoft is like, I don't know. They're following, they're hitting the same trap that everybody else has been hitting lately, which is, you know, I think it isn't necessarily that they're making bad choices with their games. I think they're doing a little bit of, I mean, they are making, obviously, because their games are flopping, but they're getting mad at their customers, which is not ideal. I mean, you've been in sales for a long time. How often do you tell your customers that they're idiots?
I think it a lot, but I don't say it.
Right. Like, you think it loudly. Like, you know, but you don't tell them, go away, I don't want your money.
Oh,
right?
No.
I mean, you take their money and you tell them they're nice to their face, even though, you know, no matter what you say to your wife, you know, can you believe that fucking idiot I had to deal with today?
Yeah.
You know, I've done that. We've all done that. And for some reason, it's like when people point out something they don't like about a game, you know, the attitude isn't like, oh, let's see how much of an issue this actually is and maybe address it. It's like, screw you. Like, don't buy our game. And that attitude is insane to me. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, it is weird. And then the other half of it is, too, is I think, if I had to guess, it may not be this way, but it's like when they put an outline of a game up, right? Like an upcoming game, you know what's probably at the very fucking top? First thing? The store. And then everything else is built around that shit. Like, I just wish games would stop with the store. Like, stop letting everything revolve around that. Make a good game, and then people will buy shit in your store. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think I'm wrong on that, dude. And
I don't, yeah.
It's just frustrating to me. And that's the one thing, like, look at what they're talking about with Star Wars Outlaws. Wasn't there like a couple missions that were supposed to be hidden behind a paywall that everybody raised hell about? It's like when you start focusing on your store first, shit like that happens and you piss the customers off before the game even launches, bro. Like, we've been talking about that for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I think it was a Jabba the Hutt mission or something like that. There was going to be a paid DLC. But, I mean, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws is like, you know, it's almost like the perfect example of, like how to fumble the bag hard. And it's not like, you know, and look, there's a lot of politics that goes into, like, it's going into it right now. And I don't want to point to that as like the cause, because it's not, I don't think it's not the cause. Like, it's a factor a lot of times, but it's not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is the attitude that people are taking with their customers when they're told that the customers don't want something. Right. And it's like, and Call of Duty is not, you know, it's not just an Ubisoft thing. Call of Duty did the same thing. With Warzone 2 and Call of Duty, you know, Modern Warfare 2, where, you know, I look at the red dots on the mini map debacle, right? And
we talked about that last week.
Like,
but it's
I don't care, right? Like, you know, red dots or not, it's not a fight that I'm gonna buy or not buy the game over. But a lot of people were, and if you remember, you know, Infinity Ward basically released a statement saying, like, you know, yeah, hey guys, we hear your feedback and we hear loudly that, you know, you all want this, and fuck you, no. they said that, right? You know, better word, not so concisely, but they had a whole post, like a whole thing of like, you know, we hear you and you're wrong and we don't care. Well, and it was, you know, for a game that sold as well as it did, it fell off hard enough that they had to backpedal everything, right? Like and the reason it's still here is they backpedaled everything. Look at some of the other games in which they didn't. They held their line of, we don't care what you have to say, we're doing what we want to do, and you can just not buy it. They didn't buy it, right? And it's like, it's this weird scenario we're in where it's like no one wants to be told that, you know, their idea isn't the best idea, right? And that's a terrible position to be in if you're a manufacturer, right? The only companies I know of that can get away with that stuff is like Apple, right? With the iPhone 3G, you know, Steve Jobs gets something like, well, you're all holding your phone wrong. And even then, they ended up, giving everybody a little, that was the start of the cases, right? They gave everybody a bumper. And then they started making them all out of glass, and people broke their stuff. So now they don't do that anymore because we all have, cases. They make the phones as thin as possible, and then we stick a giant case on it. So, whatever. But it's like, Ubisoft has just gotten so many hits in a row of like, they just refuse to listen to what their customers want. And, they finally made what sounds like the right call of pulling back Assassin's Creed Shadows, to retool it and fix some stuff. Because aside from the main character controversy, which sounds like they're addressing that for various reasons, but like they were literally like mixing and matching non-Japanese architecture into the game in feudal Japan.
That's malpractice, dude. I mean, that really is. But like, so here's the thing too. They're trying to, all right, so you have a ninja. Cool. That's more assassin-like. We talked about this last week. Then you have a samurai who the only gameplay footage you see is more or less fucking brute force. That's not really Assassin's Creed. If you like that samurai character, you should take it and make another samurai game. I guarantee you people will play it.
It would sell.
Like, do that. I would probably play it. But I'm not playing Assassin's Creed so I can run around with a big fucking piece of wood and beat the shit out of people with it.
The whole point is that you're supposed to walk through a crowd and no one knows you're there, right?
Yeah.
Like you just walk through and like knife somebody and walk off, and it's like that was like Hitman, right? Like the Hitman franchise. Like imagine if Hitman walked around with, a minigun strapped to his back and just like mowed down everybody in his way. Like nobody would sit there and be like, this is a Hitman game, right? And they would be upset that this is what you wanted, this is what you're doing with the character. And it's the same thing is happening, with this with Shadows, right? And so finally, after Star Wars failed, they're coming back and retooling it. But I mean, there have been so many games in a row where it's like no one will listen to feedback. And Ubisoft, X Defiant is kind of in the same boat a little bit where, they launched late with the same bugs they delayed for a year over and absolutely, missed their window. And it's like, and they've been very dead set in just doing what they're doing, which, depending on who you talk to, has had some success, but like they're still not producing they're not doing well, by all accounts. And so yeah.
Let me ask you something, and then I want to address what Silencer said. Do you think at some point people are going to learn not to fuck with Star Wars fans?
No.
Because honestly, dude, the last like 3 Star Wars things that have come out, minus Ahsoka was actually pretty good. I thought that was good. But like the trilogy, the Acolyte, and then this Outlaws game, like they've all done, like people fucking hate them, especially your hardcore fans. And I think that's where like these companies tend to get into trouble is they're always trying to grow, and that's cool to grow. But dude, you can't do it at the expense of your hardcore fans. It's Call of Duty's hardcore fans that hated what they did in Modern Warfare 2 with the stealth missions. Again, that's kind of the opposite of what you said with Hitman, walking around with a fucking, a chain gun or a Gatling gun or whatever. Like you do that on Call of Duty.
Which is interesting because one of the most loved missions in Call of Duty is and most well-known missions aside from No Russian is All Gillied Up.
But that's a sniper mission.
But it's still but you remember you're crawling through bushes surrounded by guys walking past you, and it's like all about stealth. Like and it's notable because it's a detractant. It's such a different mission compared to the missions around it, and it was a master class in how you can have a run and gun game that can do stealth. Like it's one of the most popular missions of all time, right? People still talk about it, and that was 2007.
Yeah, it had the
right?
Borealis effect and everything that you had to think about, like with the bullet.
Yeah.
But the point is, though, is like, yes, that was in the game, but it was about like sniping or whatever. Like the stealth missions that were in Modern Warfare 2 and in even 3 is basically just fucking running around hiding, and you take a spoon and like put it together with a piece of tinfoil and make some kind of little throwing star or whatever the hell.
Well, okay, look, that one mission, on what was it? It was on that map. Yeah, whatever. The one that was really designed to like showcase what DMZ could have been. In Modern Warfare 2, I think that was on par in terms of like how well it was crafted, how well they did it and worked it into the story with All Gillied Up. I really enjoyed that mission. I thought it was a great break of pace. I thought the way it was incorporated into the story made a ton of sense. It wasn't just thrown in there of like, you're just going to randomly be here. But I think that when they added those aspects in towards the end of the game, that it felt bolted on. Right. So I think it's one of those things of like, you do something really well once in a game and it's really good. And then you have other mission, and then you don't need to use it repeatedly. And I think that was a mistake to bring it back, to bring that crafting aspect back into the single player game of Modern Warfare 2. But Modern Warfare 3, the campaign was a disaster.
It was just too fast.
It really was. It was too fast, and there was a lot of stuff that wasn't done well. I think
that open mission, I didn't really care for that one that much, but
there were a couple of those. I didn't hate them. Like, it felt like Warzone. Like, to be honest, it felt like they're trying to incorporate Warzone in. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like they didn't do a good enough job of giving you idea of what to do and how to do it and stuff like that. It just felt like they were just kind of tossing extra missions in because they could without having to actually create the mission.
Yeah. So Silencer, he mentioned, I thought the Assassin's Creed history stemmed over centuries with different types of assassins in each era. Yes, that's mostly true. From Altair to Ezio to Black Flag, I forget what his name was, to Connor. Yes, but my point about that is you're making one of the protagonists a completely opposite type of fighter than what the franchise is known for. So you're not staying with the subject material per se. Mm-hmm. There's an appetite for that. We know that. Do that in another game is my point. And the same thing could apply to the Modern Warfare with their stealth missions like they did for 2 and 3. Gillied Up was a fucking goat. You're right. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem too with the Assassin's Creed thing is that no matter who you are, right? So like Black Flag, I hold up Black Flag as one of the best. One is probably the crown jewel of the series because the pirates part was awesome. But generally speaking, like when you walked around, it wasn't like everyone knew who you were, right? And even though you were kind of captaining your pirate ship, right, you were still kind of anonymous. And so it was different. It was more of like you fit into the crowd that you were in that game, right? So it was pirates. You were a pirate among pirates, hanging around, and so it wasn't a standout thing. And this is where I think part of the problem comes in. So you have the Yasuki, right? Correct me if I'm saying that wrong. And when you show the gameplay of him walking around, one of the things that you observe is how the NPCs around him behaved, which is very distinctly different than how Assassin's Creed has always done it. So in Assassin's Creed, usually you walk through a crowd and you just kind of like, you just snake through the crowd.
Blend.
And yeah, you're just one person among many moving around, and you just happen to stab somebody in the back of the head as you walk by them. Unlike how they portrayed Yasuki, where he walks through and he's given, bows and space, and there's a bubble. I've seen some of the clips I've seen. He's got a bubble, and he's got like literally people like bowing down to him as he walks by. Like, and that's not how Assassin's Creed has treated its main characters. historically up to that point, right? Like that's a new mechanic, and it doesn't feel connected to the Assassin's Creed universe. And you combine that with him being a completely brute strength character, you know, I mean, it just, from a character standpoint, it doesn't match how Assassin's Creed has done it in the past. And that's, and I think that's what people generally don't like, right? They don't like it when you take a main character like that and you say, well, I'm just going to change it. You know, I'm going to change the way the game treats this person completely because, you know, I don't know, whatever reason was in their head. The reality is it doesn't match the Assassin's Creed mentality. If you wanted to make a samurai game, right, they could have made a samurai game based on, you know, that character and like envisioned his, you know, his role in the conflict that he was a part of, right? Because he was a part of, you know, he was, you know, a part of a civil war and an overthrowing of the shogunate. And he was there, like he took part in combat, right? Like they could have done a game based on that and just made it its own game, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to attach the Assassin's Creed name to a game that's not Assassin's Creed, right? And I think that would have gone over a lot better than trying to create an Assassin's Creed game that doesn't feel like an assassin.
Well, I mean, take for instance, all right, so, you know, we had Black Panther, the movie, right? And, you know, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman passed away. So in Wakanda Forever, they had Shuri, his sister, take over the mantle of Black Panther. Hey, guess what? That's part of the source material. She did that in the comics. No fuss, no muss. Yeah. You know, it's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, stick to source material. Stop all the other bullshit.
Yeah. No, 100%. And so I think it's one of those things where it's like Ubisoft has gotten themselves into this corner of where they just have not respected their source materials and their games very well. And it's and that's the heart of the problem, is that they're not, because they're not respecting their stuff, they're not respecting what they have. They're trying to, you know, this is the root of the video, is that they're trying to tell their existing customers that they're not needed because they want to get a new group of customers, and it doesn't work that way, right? Like that doesn't go well in business, right? You don't tell your existing customers to go away because you want new customers. You get the new customers, and if the old customers fade out, like if you're replacing them, like fine, like you can adjust your demographics that way. But you don't just wake up one day and say, people paying our salaries, go away. You know, we're going to go get new people. And I think that's the big problem that, you know, we've seen a couple of times where it's like they don't want the people, you know, they don't want to serve the fans. They don't want to give the fans what they want. They just want to create new fans, which is a very difficult thing to do. And we've seen that repeatedly.
Battlefield 2042, man. That's why they're spending the last 2.5 years completely going back, and trying to fix it. It's like that again. That goes back to me. Stop chasing fucking metrics and just make a good game and stick to your source material. Yeah, I promise you, make a good game, the metrics will all come.
I mean, Call of Duty made basically the same game for 20 years, and it's like, you know, when they deviate from it, it doesn't go well. Right? When they sit there and say, well, we're not going to have a campaign. People don't like that. When they say, we're going to make it in space. People don't like that. Right? And, you know, when we're going to take away movement and completely eradicate the red dots on the minimap, people don't like that either.
We're going to eliminate your fun. We don't like that either. You know,
no fun of any kind.
Yeah, I agree. It's like just stick to your source material, man, and don't alienate your hardcore customers. And, you know, the rest will honestly take care of itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things of like, so Ubisoft is, you know, they're in trouble, and now Tencent's looking to buy them. And so I'm very curious to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. You know, we'll see if this gets the same kind of pushback that, you know, Microsoft buying Activision got. Probably not, to be honest. And I don't know, you know, Tom Henderson was reporting last night or this morning that, there's kind of an expectation if they buy it, that's like a 30-40% headcount reduction right off the rip. Like if they take it off, if they delist it, and they take it private again, like that's going to be a big hit to the employee account. You know, we think Microsoft gutted ship when they bought Activision. You know, wait until the Chinese get a hold of these guys.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna take a hit.
You have some little kid in Shanghai doing the fucking environmental art for like 5 cents
AI,
a month.
With
AI for 5 cents a month.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna love. I don't know if I'm gonna love the idea of them buying Ubisoft, but Ubisoft can't keep doing what they're doing. They have to fix the attitude they're bringing to their games, because you just can't keep doing this and pushing your fan base away and flopping on repeat. Like, it's just, that's how companies go under, right? And like, you know, Coke tried it with New Coke. That's why we have Classic Coke, right? It doesn't work. You know, that the changing the system doesn't always work when you're known for, like, when people love you for what you do. Yeah. It's like Battlefield people want to play Battlefield. They don't want to play Hero Battlefield.
Nope.
Right? Star Wars people want to play a game that feels like Star Wars. They don't want to play a janky, bad stealth cover Far Cry.
Listen,
right?
We read books for a reason. Certain books for certain reasons. We play certain games for certain reasons because they do certain things for you. You know, movies, same thing. So it's like if you take away all that stuff, then you know this is what you get.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this will be a curious thing to see. I'm very open to see what happens. Hopefully Tencent scares them enough that they pull their crap together and they're actually able to, like, you know, kind of revise how they've been playing. That would be my goal, how they've been doing games. Because if they can fix that, I think we'll be in a better spot. But yeah, you know, so I don't know. Gaming industry is going to be its own thing. But that, you know, to be honest, that's kind of like the crux of this video I'm trying to put together in a way that doesn't get me canceled. So we'll see how that goes. I'll make sure Jay proofs it before I put it out there.
I'm sure it'll be great. But before you end us, let's preview next episode. I think we are going to go ahead and talk about kind of the history of Warzone. But we do have a special guest that will be joining. I don't know if we'll be live yet, but he'll definitely be on the episode. Omit Braxton has agreed to come on. I've been trying to get him on for a while. He's a really cool guy, competitor in the World Series of Warzone.
Yeah.
I believe they placed 6th or 7th. He was top 5 last year, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I'm excited to have him on, man. He's a great kid. So
yeah, I'm excited for it. It's going to be a good episode. Going to have a lot to talk about with him. Kind of get some insights onto, you know, back into the comp scene. I don't think we've had a comp player in a little while. I think the last comp player I think we had on was Rose.
That was the involved folks.
Yeah. Or anyway.
She's involved.
Yeah, that's right. Rose, and we had Waldo and some other guys.
And Icy Scopes.
Yep. So it'll be good to bring them on and kind of, you know, hear their point of view on stuff. So I'm excited for that. So that was a great pickup. And then we've got some other big guests coming up once we kind of get a little closer to the launch. I think we'll get some bigger names in. And yeah, it's been great. But thanks to everybody for sticking around. Thanks for listening through to this point. Glad to have you. We're gonna again continue to. Most episodes will be live unless we have a reason not to be. I think it's been a good experiment and paid off well. So don't forget, hop in the Discord. You know, we're building the Discord up. Please check us out. We have these episodes do go on to YouTube and Spotify, and definitely if you get the chance, add us on Spotify. Please give the episode a playthrough on that. Helps our metrics, and we are ad revved monetized on Spotify. So help balance out some of the cost would be great. We appreciate that.
And follow our Twitch pages too, if you will.
Yep. And then but we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate you guys.